What's up YouTube, HarpieHero here, bringing you an X-Saber deck profile. I've been messing around with X-Sabers for a while. They're a lot of fun, really easy to build, really easy to just mess around with, pretty cheap to do as well, so a good deck just to, if you're getting into to learn XYZ synchros and all that, possibly pendulums when they come out. But yeah, it's a really fun deck, and let's get started into the deck profile. Start off Triple Bogart Knight. He's one of your main engines of the deck. He allows, when he's normal summoned, you can special one level 4 lower X-Saber monster from your hand. And it cannot be used for Synchro Summon for an X-Saber, for the Synchro Summon except for an X-Saber monster. So he's a little bit harder to use, but you can use him for like Hilonyai and all that. So it's still really good. Next, Triple Ember's Blade. He's there to allow you to basically play passively, because when he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special 1 level 4 lower X-Saber from your deck. He just allows you to go for like your Dark Soul or Paschal or whatever you're going for. So really good as well. Next, Triple Dark Soul. Dark Soul is your Searcher, your Stratos of the deck basically. If he's sent to the graveyard or from field to the graveyard, you can add 1 X-Saber monster from your deck to your hand. So really good. And I believe his effect stacks upon each other if you use multiple Dark Souls in a turn. Next, 2 X-Saber Paschals. He's just a level 2 tuner, can't be destroyed by battle. So if you need to, you can stall on him. But when he's in defense face up, during each of your opponent's standby phases, you take 1,000 damage. So that is very important to remember. Next, 2 X-Saber Arabellums. When he inflicts battle damage to an opponent by direct attack, your opponent has to discard 1 random card from their hand. It's just mostly there as a level 3 tuner, but his effect does become handy sometimes. Next, 2 X-Saber Full-Helm Knights. Another great card. When your opponent declares an attack, you can basically negate the attack only once while he's face up on the field. It's still really good to have Full-Helm Knights, so really helpful. Next, 2 XX-Saber Fultrals. Fultrals here to bring back your X-Sabers from your graveyard, except for himself. You can special summon. He can only be special summoned from your hand by controlling 2 or more X-Saber face-up X-Saber monsters. And once per turn, you can select 1 level 4 lower X-Saber monster in your graveyard and special summon it, which is the whole monster lineup. And you can go into Synchros, XYZs with him or whatever after you get your plays off. So really, really helpful. And that rounds up the monsters. So let's go into the spells. Next, we run 2 Saber Slashes. Destroys face-up cards equal to the number of face-up X-Saber monsters I control. So it is helpful. Gets rid of Fiendish Chains, problematic cards like Yamato, stuff like that. So yeah, really helpful. It's fun against Noble Knights too, because you pop their backer, they reattach if you have multiple Saber Slashers in hand. Just get rid of their Noble Arms. Next, I like drawing, so I run Triple Shard Agreed. I don't use Upstart because to me, it gives your opponent a little bit too much advantage. And it's better than Reckless in my opinion. Even if they MST it, you're not too much of at a minus. And they do stack upon each other, so you can, if you open up a Triple Shard and a way to stall 2 turns, you can have +6. So, Triple Shard I do like having in the deck. Next, 2 Tankies. Search for your Bogart Knights. It's also Scrap Dragon food if your Bogart Knights are done and useless. So really helpful. Next, Triple MST to pop back row that you know is there or that you need to get rid of if you don't have Hilonyai. And Dark Hole, Book of Moon, Mind Control, and Rhoda as the one-ofs for spells. All pretty much self-explanatory. Add to your warriors, take your opponent's stuff, disrupt your plays, and panic button. So yeah, that's why I run those. Let's go into the traps now. Next, Triple Gadamon's Emergency Call. Gadamon's Emergency Call, what it does is if you have an X-Saber on the field, target 2 X-Sabers in your graveyard and special summon them. So it's kind of like a Reborn to X-Sabers in a way. It doesn't give a restriction on level, so if you want, you can go for your synchros that you already went for. So it is really helpful. Next to Saber holes, it's a lot of fun. It negates normal summon and inherent special summons, which is really important to have, in my opinion. So your opponent tries to go for your motto, Saber hole it. I think it's really helpful. So Saber hole is really good. And then finally, the one of the traps I run one reinforced truce just to get a free partial on your opponent's turn if they like MSTing it or something. 1/7 tools to stun your opponent's stuff, 1 evac, and 1 torrential. And that rounds up the deck at 42, I believe it is. So now let's get into the extra deck. To start off, I run 1 Leo, the Keeper of the Sacred Tree. He's really good. He's just basically a dead level 7 synchro, or I can go through 2 Bogre Knights plus there's a lot of ways to get him out. I've had dead cards in the field and I just synchroed into it and I was like, oh yeah, this will work. And it did work, so he's 3100 beater. Can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects except during my main phase 2. So really important to have, in my opinion, because he is possible. Next one, XX-Saber Gotham's. He's another 3100 beater. And I contribute an X-Saber monster to discard 1 random card from my opponent's hand. Really helpful, gets better their hand advantage. If you have like dead cards, like if you have Fall Troll and Dark Soul, just pop Dark Soul and you have a search at the end phase, so you go plus on that. So Gotham's is really good. Next one, Mistworm. He is possible to get out as well. I do like Mistworm. He just removes cards on the field that I can't get over, like Beazle and stuff like that. So Mistworm is really important. Next, Scrap Dragon. Just Scrap Dragon, you pop stuff. He's really helpful. Gets you out of sticky situations, so really good. 1 X-Saber Souza, just to have his effect where he can either not be affected by trap cards, or at the start of the damage step, which you have to tribute an X-Saber for his effect, you can have it so he becomes like a Catastor in a way. So he is really helpful. So next one, Black Rose. Black Rose is Black Rose, nukes the field, panic button, you name it. Next one, X-Saber Halanyai. I would run 2 if I had to, but unfortunately I don't. So 2 Halanyai is really good. So just pops 3 back row of your opponents. Next one, Terria Barkion. Barkion just negates traps. And he must be facing on the field to do it, but he just banishes 2 from grave to stop opponent's cards or traps. For 5s, I run 1 Catastor. Catastor's Catastor, kind of unnecessary to explain. And then 1 Eteria Beast, just to negate my opponent's spells. Yeah. Next for XYZs, 1 101, just to get rid of problematic cards like Beazle, other XYZs that I don't need on the field, or Synchros, whatever. The panic button of the deck, Exoton Knight, just no real explanation with him either. Cowboy, just defense, burn for game. Photon Pastoral Operative, just to turn your opponent's monsters to attack. That's how it's really fun against mermails when they set like Lind and stuff. If you have ways to stop Lind's effect, Pathy is really good. And then the final card they do run is 1 Gauntlet Launcher. Gauntlet Launcher, he's pretty interesting actually. The way you get him out is you either have a dead Halanyai. I've used Barkion once because he had no back row, or you use your dead Voltrolls. And what this does is he just detaches 2 and target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So he is really helpful that he can do it twice per turn as well. So it just helps stun your opponent a bit. And yeah, it just gets rid of cards as well. But yeah, there is the deck. I hope you all enjoyed. It's a fun deck. It's easy to play. I would recommend it to a new player. And this is HarpieHero, signing out.